continue to stand on my innocence. Just because, settlements and things like that happen doesn't mean that a person is guilty for anything.
11-game suspension for Deshaun Watson, nearly double the original suspension.
Look, I want to say that I'm truly sorry to all the women that I've impacted in this situation.
One of the most difficult parts of my job is trying to choose between getting the content out to you guys as soon as possible or waiting to make sure I include each and every piece of information that came out in regards to a topic. And in today's case, there's so much information we have on Deshaun Watson that I needed to bring to you guys in one video. From the initial suspension to the new suspension to the NFL statement to the ownership statement to the Cleveland Browns statement to Deshaun Watson's statement to Deshaun Watson holding himself accountable but at the same time not holding himself accountable. There is so much to discuss in this video, so make sure you drop a like, and I'm giving away codes to Madden 23 to a subscriber that turns on my notifications on this channel or follows us on Twitter and Instagram. The link to the giveaways are going to be in the description down below. Now that we get all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? About a couple of weeks ago, Judge Sue L. Robinson ruled Deshaun Watson to be suspended for 6 games. The NFL looked at this and said, no, we gotta appeal this. This is not enough punishment. This is as a result of the NFL clearly feeling public pressure in regards to how much national attention this case got. The NFL needed to do whatever it can to protect the Shield and protect the Shield's reputation. So they decided to appeal the suspension and ruled a former DA member to oversee the case. And ultimately, we officially got a ruling on Deshaun Watson's suspension today. So according to Adam Schefter, the NFL and the NFLPA reached agreement on an 11-game suspension for Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson per sources. The settlement also includes a fine of $5 million that will go to charity. The deal is still not signed, but it is agreed to. So we have Deshaun Watson's actual reaction that's going to come in a bit. But to give you an idea of how this fine is in relation to the rest of his contract, well, my man Brett Coleman said it best on Twitter. For those keeping track at home, the $5 million fine is roughly 2.1% of his total guaranteed contract. Bear in mind that Deshaun Watson's entire contract is guaranteed. He's going to pretty much get paid for sitting at home, well, temporarily sitting at home, because the NFL CBA changed up some of its rules, and according to Adam Schefter, although Deshaun Watson's first game back is now scheduled to be in week 13 at Houston against the Texans, he is actually allowed to return a little bit sooner. How soon, you might ask? Well, Deshaun Watson's 11-game suspension begins on August 30th on the NFL's roster cutdown day. He may return to the team's training facility and participate in limited activities on October 10th, and on November 14th, he can resume practicing, and Deshaun Watson can play again on December 4th against the Houston Texans. A part of me just loves how the NFL just can't help but leverage drama in order to monetize. I mean, week 1, you got the Cleveland Browns going up against the Carolina Panthers. Of course, Baker Mayfield is going to be the starter of the Carolina Panthers. I mean, duh, they traded for him. And I'm sure that happened by accident, but this definitely was on purpose. I feel like the NFL would have loved to suspend Deshaun Watson for the entire season, but the opportunity to see Deshaun Watson make his debut against his former team and pretty much set himself up for failure, with all due respect. You saw how rusty Deshaun Watson was in his first preseason game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Maybe the chance that Jaguars fans had against him had something to do with it. Or maybe it's actual rust from not playing for an entire season. Now you're pretty much taking Deshaun Watson out for the entirety of the season, and by the time teams are finally kicking it into high gear, they finally figured it out. Every team and player is clearly going to be in peak conditioning. Well, Deshaun Watson is going to play his first game and is still going to try to figure it out. I mean, it's going to be his first official game in like a year and a half, man. So you have to think that this is going to set Deshaun Watson up for failure. earlier. The only thing I hope we get out of this is some more consistency from the NFL in regards to punishment, because I don't want to get into whether Deshaun Watson deserved this or didn't deserve it, because it really depends on how you feel about the guy and how you feel about this case, and if you feel like he did it or how you feel about the evidence stacked against him. I acknowledge that there's going to be some people that believe he should have gotten a worse punishment and some people that feel like he was overly punished. But that aside, there's one thing that I want the NFL to get out of this before we get to Deshaun Watson's actual statements, which are consistently contradicting what the NFL wants him to do. And that's the fact that I would like to see more consistency in punishments. Like, for example, Vontaze Burfict 12 games for targeting, DeAndre Hopkins 6 games for PED, Martavis Bryant is still suspended for weed, Josh Gordon has been suspended 76 games for weed, which wouldn't weed be a PED technically? And then you have Calvin Ridley, who's been suspended for this entire season because he bet on his team to win during a time that he wasn't playing. And then you have Deshaun Watson, who had the 24 misconduct lawsuits against him, suspended for 11 games and a $5 million fine. So you might be thinking, how does Deshaun Watson feel about this? Well, Deshaun Watson put out a written statement, which he also appeared on camera and gave a vocal statement and an interview that we're going to show you guys in a minute, saying that I'm grateful that the disciplinary process has ended and extremely appreciative of the tremendous support I've received throughout my short time with the Cleveland Browns organization. I apologize once again for any pain this situation has caused. I take accountability for the decisions I made. My focus going forward is on working to become the best version of myself on and off the field and supporting my teammates however possible while I'm away from the team. I'm excited about what the future holds for me in Cleveland. So here's the thing. Deshaun Watson says that he holds himself accountable for the decisions he's made, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he believes he did anything wrong, because literally 20 minutes after this statement was put out, he gave us this gem of an interview.
And I'm continuing to stand on my innocence. Just because, settlements and things like that happen doesn't mean that a person is guilty for anything. I feel like the person has the opportunity to stand on his innocence and prove that, and we proved that on the legal side, and we're just going to continue to push forward as an individual and as a person.
This is so typical of the Cleveland Browns organization, man, because then you have the Cleveland Browns organization putting out their written statement, and trust me, the Haslams also appear on camera and give a comical interview as well, saying, as we have previously conveyed, Deshaun and his representatives have abided by the NFL and NFLPA structure, awaiting a final decision, and we have respected the process. Now that a decision on discipline has been reached, we understand that this is a real opportunity to create meaningful change, and we are committed to investing in programs in Northeast Ohio that will educate our youth regarding awareness, understanding, and most importantly, prevention of sexual misconduct and the many underlying causes of such behavior. Since Deshaun entered our building, he has been an outstanding member of our organization and shown a true dedication to working on himself both on and off of the field. We will continue to support him as he focuses on earning the trust of our community.
We respect his opinion. I do think in counseling, Deshaun will grow to learn a lot more about himself.
Dee, are you saying that maybe he doesn't realize he did something wrong?
I think if you know anything about counseling, it takes a long time to go through that process, and doing the work, he's committed to doing the hard work to make himself a better person. I think he said that several times, that he's committed to doing that.
People deserve second chances, okay? I really think that, and I struggle a little bit. Is he never supposed to play again? Is he never supposed to be part of society? Does he get no chance to rehabilitate himself? And that's what we're going to do, okay? And you can say, well, that's because he's a star quarterback. Well, of course, but if he was Joe Smith, he wouldn't be on the headlines every day. So we think people deserve a second chance. We gave Kareem Hunt a second chance, okay? And that's worked out pretty well, okay? We're hoping this will work out, and we have strong belief it will. That doesn't mean we don't have empathy for people affected, and we will continue to do so. But we strongly believe people deserve a second.
Literally have the Cleveland Browns ownership going to Deshaun Watson and saying, no, bro, you are not innocent. Or at least saying, dude, just shut up and just say you're guilty so we can move on from this. Which I could understand Deshaun Watson not wanting to claim that he's guilty, especially if he truly feels like he didn't do it, despite there being like a bunch of evidence against him. I wasn't there. Again, there is an argument that you could make for Deshaun Watson's side and against Deshaun Watson's side. Obviously, it's very very difficult for Deshaun Watson to admit he did something if he did do something. I'm not going to go into whether he did it or did not do it. I'm more focused on bringing you guys the immense amount of information we have because we didn't even get to what the NFL said about this situation. So check this out. The NFL wrote this official statement saying, disciplinary measures announced for Deshaun Watson following NFL and NFLPA agreement. Browns QB suspended for the first 11 regular season games must commit to mandatory evaluation and treatment, fined $5 million. The fine will be combined with additional donations from the NFL and Browns, resulting in $7 million to support the prevention of sexual misconduct and assault. Deshaun Watson of the Cleveland Browns is suspended without pay. Ooh, I didn't know it was without pay. For the first 11 games of the 2022 regular season and fined $5 million for violations of the NFL's personal conduct policy. It was announced today. In addition, Watson will promptly undergo a professional evaluation by behavioral experts and will follow their treatment program. The announcement comes after an agreement reached by the NFL and NFLPA and concludes the disciplinary process. Watson's fine and contributions from the NFL and the Cleveland Browns of $1 million each will create a fund of $7 million. This fund will support the work of nonprofit organizations across the country that educate young people on healthy relationships, promote education and prevention of sexual misconduct and assault, support survivors, and related causes. Deshaun is committed to doing the hard work on himself that is necessary for his return to the NFL, Commissioner Roger Goodell stated. This settlement requires compliance with a professional evaluation and treatment plan, a significant fine, and a more substantial suspension. We are grateful to Judge Robinson and Peter Harvey for their efforts in addressing these matters, which laid the foundation for reaching this conclusion. On August 1st, Judge Sue L. Robinson, the independent disciplinary officer jointly appointed by the NFL and NFLPA, found that Deshaun Watson violated the NFL's personal conduct policy on multiple occasions and suspended him for 6 games. The CBA affords the NFL or NFLPA the right to appeal the discipline imposed by the disciplinary officer. Today's announcement concludes the process and there will be no designee ruling or additional legal steps. Watson's suspension will take effect at the final roster cutdown and he will be eligible for reinstatement on November 28th. So the NFL is expecting him to accept treatment. Watson doesn't seem to be accepting that he did something wrong, which is literally contradicting himself as well, saying that last Friday Deshaun Watson made comments that the NFL thought were an important first step, but the league still expects him to be fully compliant with treatment and accept accountability and understand his behavior. So you might be wondering, okay, Mike, well, if that's the case, why is Deshaun Watson apologizing then? Well, according to Mikerophone, I've always been able to stand on my innocence and always said I never assaulted or disrespected anyone. But at the same point, I have to continue to push forward with my life and career. So you might be wondering, why is he apologizing then? Well, for everybody that was affected by this situation, there were a lot of people that were triggered. So just to be abundantly clear, if this didn't convey the message well enough, Diana Rossini really hammers in what Deshaun Watson's trying to say. The signing of this settlement only means that Deshaun Watson is ending the legal process. This has nothing to do with an admission of guilt. Those close to him share with me today that he regrets putting himself in the position. This isn't an admission or an apology to the women involved. So pretty much Deshaun Watson saying, I am apologizing because I'm pretty much being forced to at this point, and I just want to move on from all of this at this point. So my question now becomes, how do the Cleveland Browns react to this? Do you go out and try to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo? Do you just move forward with Jacoby Brissett? Because the games that Deshaun Watson's going to miss is kind of a mixed bag. So Dove Kleiman tweets, I think possibly incorrectly, a reminder that Deshaun Watson signed a 5-year, $230 million contract, a fully guaranteed contract. The $5 million fine doesn't hold much water. He'll miss games against Carolina, the New York Jets, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, the Los Angeles Chargers, New England, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Miami, Buffalo, and Tampa Bay. And he'll play against Houston, Cincinnati, Baltimore, New Orleans, Washington, and Pittsburgh. So if you ask me, out of all these games, I think these games are potentially winnable, especially considering the fact that the Cleveland Browns have some very solid players. I mean, I don't know how much of a factor they're going to be in the passing game, but at the very minimum, you have a solid offensive line, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and D'Ernest Johnson, with a head coach that primarily prioritizes the run. So I feel like they're going to be okay. I feel like they could beat Carolina, New York, possibly Pittsburgh, Atlanta. I don't know about the Los Angeles Chargers. I don't know about the Patriots. I don't know about the Baltimore Ravens or Cincinnati. I don't know about Miami, Buffalo, or Tampa Bay. So it's a little tough because it seems like Deshaun Watson could just come in and literally just be playing for practically no reason at that point. There's a good chance that the Cleveland Browns could be out of the playoff hunt by the time Deshaun Watson comes in. So at that point, do you try to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, or do you just keep going with Jacoby Brissett? On top of that, how do you think the Houston Texans fans are going to react to Deshaun Watson's return? Because bear in mind, if I was a Texans fan, I would think Deshaun Watson had a right to want out of their team. I mean, just based upon the boneheaded moves that the team has made that resulted in Deshaun Watson wanting out to begin with. I mean, trading DeAndre Hopkins for pennies on the dollar, not having a first-round pick for multiple seasons so they could bring in Laramie Tunsil, and pretty much losing all of their contending pieces and putting Deshaun Watson in an instant rebuild situation. I wouldn't be mad that Deshaun Watson left, and I'd be thankful for the contributions he made to the roster. I feel like the Houston Texans failed Watson, so I don't know if the Texans fans are going to boo him or if they're going to cheer him on, but I can't imagine anyone cheering Deshaun Watson on just based upon what I saw from the Jacksonville Jaguars video. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this, man. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.